to our caller for processing. Yeah.
Right. Hey everybody.
I think that's where we'll pick up next time is here. I'm going to try and take care of that time problem off on the side, but I want to try and pick up right here. Let's clean up our code. Let's clean up our
figure out where
check things into source control. And let's get ready to set up a raid today. So here we are.
Oh, there he is.
We made some changes in our code here, and I'm going to commit those. I'm just going to mark them as work in progress.
Let's see if Fritz wants to raid me.
Right? I mean, we did a couple changes. Nothing big, nothing to hang on to yet. We'll rebase before we send it over to the shared location. Thanks so much, everybody, for joining us. It's been a lot of fun. You know what? Yeah, let's set up our raid call. If you're a subscriber, go ahead, copy the first line out of chat there. If you're not a subscriber, that's okay. Copy the second line. Copy it onto the clipboard. Get ready to announce ourselves. We're going to announce when we go and raid our next streamer over here that we want to check out, we want to support. And I saw him just say he's going live. Hurry up and get going live over there so we can raid you.
Oh, it's
there
fine.
We go.
All right, let's get going here. That's not what I want. Let's see. We're gonna come in here and see who comes in from Fritz. Let's see. I gotta get to my channel here. All right, we're gonna do some C# today. There I am. Nobody is in the chat yet. All right, we're gonna do a new git clone right here. We're working on this Git architecture stuff. Hey, Varukashada. There should be a command that'll tell you what we're talking about today, but I don't know if I have that bot set up. Thanks. It's a Xamarin shirt. Now that we've got that, I can open it up in Visual Studio. Here we go. Fritz! Woo! Welcome, everybody. Thank you, C# Fritz. We are going to work on some stuff with my clean architecture sample here today, which I just cloned. C# Fritz Coding Squad, all your base belong to us. Sweet. Hi, everybody. Welcome, welcome. Thank you for the new follows. Somewhere I've got a thing that tells me who's doing that. Let's see. Oh, we got a bunch. Wow, I've got Mopol Limopol and Col Alt Delete. That's a cool name. I like that. And the real once E. I don't know if that's how I'm saying it right. Code Monkey Dave, Disco12345, Terminal Bash, Avidesk. Thank you guys, all of you, for joining. Like I said, today I have a GitHub project out here, github.com/Ardalis/clean architecture, if I can type, right? And this is what I'm going to be working on today. And what we're going to do is we're going to do a little bit of refactoring, and I have a super simple Azure pipeline script on this, and I want to get this a little better. I want to add code coverage to this so we can go out and see the builds, and we'll be able to see what kind of testing code coverage we've got going. Still got more followers. We got Avidesk, Terminal Bash. No, they were already there. I already said that. Who else is following? Varukashada is asking, is there an advantage to using Enterprise VS? There are some nice features in Enterprise VS. They have a few more things under Analyze here, I think, than you get in some of the other spots. Some of the code analysis things, I think, are only in Enterprise. And then the load testing tools, I think, are only in Enterprise. Code Stencil, thank you for the follow. So if we wanted to add load testing, I'm not going to do it right now, but we could say add a new project, and we can say load, or maybe it's just test project. Maybe it's just a test project. And then you can add the load testing templates to it. I wonder if I can add it to this test project I've got here. Add new item. Now, unfortunately, those load testing features are going away. So it's nice, but not forever. I don't even know where they are in this new load test. I don't see it. I'm not doing a good job selling it, am I? This is Enterprise, so it should be there somewhere. How do I get to load test? Maybe I have to add a MS test. It's been a while since I've done it, because like I said, they're deprecating it, so it's not going to be there. Test project. There used to be a load test, one of these. I don't see it anymore. So if I do an MS test, I'll just add an MS test project just for fun. That's F#. I don't want F#. There it is. MS test, C# test project. Let's see what that does for me. And we'll call this load tests. And I'm not going to keep this, but just to see. You get to work for a rich company if you have that. There you go. I won't comment on that. If you have an MSDN subscription, you can get Enterprise if you have the expensive MSDN subscription. All right, so if I want to add a new item here, there should be a test thing in here. There should be a web test and a load test. I know I've got them in 2017. Do I still have that installed? No. I think I installed 2017. Yeah. So I know how to find it in 2017. There used to be a test thing here that you would expand, and then there'd be a web test and a load test, and you would add them from there. And I'm not seeing them. But yeah, theoretically, if you had those web test and load test things, that would be one reason to have Enterprise. And I can't even find it. It's horrible. Sorry. All right. Speaking of tests, are you a fan of TDD? I am a fan of TDD, generally. So let's talk about that for a minute. What we're going to do is we're going to do some code coverage work today on clean architecture. And if you do TDD, your code coverage should be very high. Code coverage is a useful metric generally in terms of looking at it over time and seeing if it's going in the right direction, right? So I like to see, oh, and Carapot, thanks for the follow. I like to see code coverage at least stay steady and ideally go up. You know, it doesn't have to go up fast, but if at least goes up a little bit, that's great. And not see it plummeting, because that means basically people are, you know, committing to the project, but they're not adding any tests. And as they add more code and there's no tests, the code coverage drops. I don't think that there's some magic percentage of code coverage you should strive for. You could have 100% code coverage, and they could be really horrible tests. Like I could write one test that uses reflection to go through and hit everything in my code base. And I would have really high test coverage, and it wouldn't really, you know, test the application. So the main thing that I use that metric for is just to get a sense of what direction it's going, and also certain parts of your application you really want to test more than others. So for example, if I have some business logic in an entity, and this project is a solution template, so it's not big on business logic. But let's say that I wanted to verify that this mark complete method actually did what it was supposed to do, that after calling this, that isDone method would be true, and that this event got added to the events collection, right? I could easily write a unit test that verifies that. It's not a very high value unit test because this method has a cyclomatic complexity of 1. And what that means is, let me make this full size here. What that means is there's only one path through here, right? There's no if statements. There's no complexity there in that term. So, yeah, there's no tests in this project, right? They don't show up in the code coverage badge on GitHub. That's what I'm fixing today, actually. So if you come out here and look at this and you see this badge, it says, oh my gosh, there's no tests. The coverage is 0. That's not quite true, but that's what I need to fix. So in the Azure pipeline, you can click on this. This is actually public. You can see here, we can click in and what it did, and here's the tests. And it's saying, it does show that 8 passed, so I'm not sure why it's saying there are no tests. But there's no code coverage tab here. So when we're done, and it won't take me too long, I hope, because I've done it a few times now, there's going to be a code coverage tab you can click on, and in that code coverage tab, you'll be able to see not just the raw number, but also on every single line of code, whether or not it's covered by a test. So that's the goal. All right, so the first thing that we need to do to get started with this is be able to run code coverage locally. And there's a few ways that we can do that. We can do that with Visual Studio easily enough. We can come into Test, I think, maybe, somewhere. Where's the Test Explorer? There it is. Come in here, and one of these options is run with code coverage, I think. Maybe? I don't know. I think there's a, maybe I have to right click. Analyze code coverage for selected tests. I think one of these buttons does that, but I'm not sure which one. So here's my tests are running. There's my code coverage. Here's what code coverage looks like. All right, so right now, looking at blocks, I have 293 blocks that are not covered, and I've covered 58%. All right, and I can open this up and I can drill in and I can see what those things are. You have a badge that shows never run despite linking to the last successful build. Nice. And I can drill into each project or each namespace within a project. So these are the different assemblies. Interestingly, it calculates code coverage on your tests, which is kind of useless because they're running the tests, right? So usually you have to exclude those. But the most important part of your application, if you're following domain-driven design or clean architecture, is going to be the stuff that's in core. So inside my core project, I'm going to have all my business logic. I'm going to have all my rules. I'm going to have services and entities that have like actual behavior on them. Inside of infrastructure, I'm going to have some simple stuff, right? Like this project has one repository. It's generic, and it can get or set or list any entity that I have, right? So I could write a couple of tests for this and be happy that it worked. There's an AppDB context. It's just got, data access stuff. These would be integration tests that I could write against this typically. But there's not a whole lot of business logic here. There shouldn't be any business logic here. All that business logic should be up here inside this core project. And right now, like I said, this is just a solution template. It's not a full-blown sample app, so it doesn't have a ton of stuff in it. It's meant for you to be able to use this as a new solution template, and then just blow this away and replace it with your own real objects. Speaking of that, if you want a real application, let's go here. A real sample app would be eShop on web, and it uses a similar design. So you can come out here, do a search for just eShop on web, and you'll see this. And this is an app. It's got an ebook that comes with it that I wrote. So there's my name, and it talks about some of these principles and domain-driven design, stuff like that. It's totally free. You can read it online on Microsoft Docs. You can download it as a PDF. And then the sample, if you look at this, I don't have my cool plugin installed on this browser, but this will show you that it's got a core and an infrastructure and a web project, just like Clean Architecture does. And it's got actual stuff in it though. So in here there's aggregates, there's entities, there's a shopping basket, there's the buyer, there's placing of orders and all the order items that are on an order, and all that stuff. If you look at the actual app itself, it's basically a storefront. I thought there was a screenshot to it on the front, but I guess not. But it looks like a storefront. Okay. So go there if you want to see a real sample. All right, now back to where we were. We're going to add some code coverage. Code coverage you can do with Visual Studio. We just saw that. So here's what that looks like. You can see which things are not covered, which things are covered. And usually, if we go in here and look at this, it'll show you a view like this, right? So you get to see if it's colored this way, if it's highlighted this way, that means it's got tests that cover it. If we go find one that is not covered or it's partially covered, which I don't know that I have a lot of, probably here's one that's 60% covered, right? If we click on this and actually go in there, you'll see that we're hitting this part of this class or this property. We're never hitting these, right? So we never do a get or a set. Apparently we do actually call the constructor. And so this will let you see what things aren't covered so you can write tests that cover them. All right, now we want to borrow some code from another project. So I'm going to go find my specification project here that I was just working on last week on the stream. And in its tests, I have the NuGet packages that I need. So we're going to use this tool called Coverlet. And I will probably use a report generator too. So we're going to steal these two NuGet package references out of this other project. And we're going to paste them into my test project here. So if they're not already there, I don't think they are. So we got testing, test SDK, XUnit, yeah, they're not there. All right, good. So we're going to add Coverlet and report generator. We'll save those. And then while we're at it, let's go back over here and look at our pipeline and see what it's doing. So when we do test with coverage here, we say run .NET test with collect coverage is true and tell it Coverlet what format to use. So Cobertura is a test format. It's an XML file format that describes test coverage. It says these are the methods and where are they covered, yes, no. And then this says which projects it's going to run against. Hey, Educuri, I'm not sure if I'm saying that right. Educur, thanks for the follow. All right, another question. What's your go-to front end, and what do you think? And do you think Blazor will one day be as big as React? React is definitely popular right now. My go-to front end typically is still Angular, just because I know it, and React has always been a little bit weird to me with the way they mix in the JavaScript with the HTML. Angular and TypeScript feels very familiar if you're coming from like a C# MVC background, so that's why it works well for me. But I work with clients that do stuff with React as well. I mostly do the .NET side of things, the C# side of things. So my front end is whatever the client wants to use. I am looking at Blazor because it's the new cool thing from Microsoft, and so I'm definitely into that. That eShop on Web sample here, I expect is going to have a Blazor sample in it soon. Doesn't have one yet. But those are things I'll be spending some time on. I did do the Blazor workshop on the stream, and it's in the YouTube channel. Pull that up real quick. YouTube CWAC Ardalis. If you go to the Ardalis YouTube channel here, we went through the Blazor workshop a couple of months ago, so you could see all of that on the stream if you want. Zuri09, do you do Python? I have done a small amount of Python. I don't do it regularly. When I was working on the Microsoft docs for ASP.NET Core when it was first coming out like 4 years ago, they were using Python to build the docs. They were using Read the Docs and Sphinx, which is a Python-based doc generator. And so I was using Python in the context of using that to build and host the docs. That's about the most recent thing I've done with it, though. I don't use it day to day. Athens, Austrian, Washington, or WA. Thanks for the follow. All right, so I want to steal, again, I'm all about stealing my own code, these couple switches right here, because I'm going to do a .NET test. All right, so here I'm in my PowerShell. We're going to cd into clean architecture. We're going to cd into tests. That's not tests. That's tests. All right, we'll do one more there. All right, so we can run .NET test. Let me get this on the screen. And I wonder if that's covered up by stuff on my stream. Hopefully not. Okay, so we just ran the test from the command line, .NET test. Now I'm going to do it again with collect coverage and coverlet output format Cobertura. And since I've added Coverlet to those NuGet packages, this should generate code coverage. And look at that, it did. Woohoo! First try. All right, what are the odds?
Pow! Wham! Kazap! First try.
That audio is way too long. All right. I have a list of words. I want to add every single word in its each quotation mark along with the comma after, so I can pick a random word from the list, but I don't know how. Stack Overflow is your friend. I want to add every single word in it, each quotation mark. I don't understand the question. I'm trying with a regex, but I don't know how. It's probably out of scope of what I'm going to talk about, but if I were using C# to do that, I would probably just do a split on the commas if they already have commas, and then I could just do a replace on the quotes to yank the quotes out, and I'd be done. I wouldn't have to do anything with regex. You can send a picture. If I were you, I'd send a link to a Stack Overflow question, because you'll probably have an answer in about 5 minutes on Stack Overflow. Smab UK, I have a proper CI/CD pipeline for Blazor now. We couldn't do that with the previous preview. Yeah, that's good. It's coming along. All right. Send the picture, Zuri. We'll look at it. I don't know how you're going to send a picture, but you can try. Okay, so here's my code coverage, right? So I got these results, line, branch, method, coverage. Let's talk about that for a second. What's the difference between line and branch coverage? Which one's better? Hey, look, there's a print screen. Should I click on that? I don't know, think about it. Stack Overflow has a nice answer on this. Line, branch, code coverage. And I was just looking at it the other day, and there's this great sample right here. Okay, and so the idea is that if you look at this, and hey, Zuri, no problem. We'll help you out if we can. We're a good, helpful community. But I'm trying to juggle between helping you and doing what I'm trying to get done here today, so we'll do both. All right, so code coverage, right? Line coverage means what percentage of these lines of code did my test hit, right? And branch coverage would mean, you know, which branches did I hit? And the two branches of this method would be, did I go into this if statement or did I not, right? So I could have 100% statement coverage if I pass in here, I say this is true, right? So when this is true, I'm going to hit this line, and then I'm going to hit this if. I'm going to go in here, I'm going to instantiate it, and I'm going to return their name, or the length of their name. All right, and I've got 100% line coverage, which should mean 100% statement coverage, which should mean that I'm good, right? I've covered every single statement in this method. I know this code works. But I've only got 50% branch coverage because I never covered the case where I didn't go into this branch. Right, so the cyclomatic complexity on this method is 2. There's 2 pathways that can come through here. And in this case, it's totally controlled by the value of this input. So that's what he's saying here. You have 50% branch coverage. And so what happens is if you never test this by passing in false here, you'll never know that this is going to give you a null reference exception if you don't instantiate the user, as is done right here. So you know, that's the difference between those two, and you kind of need to measure both, right? And that's why you can't just say that line coverage is better, branch coverage is better. You kind of need both. And so here you'll see that Coverlet will output both line and branch as well as method coverage. I'm Not Myself wants to know, what is your take on value of code coverage as a management metric? So I mentioned that a little bit ago. I don't strive for like some magic number of coverage, right? I just want coverage to be steady or increasing over time. So the thing I don't have working yet in Azure Devops, but I'm hoping to get working sometime soon, is to be able to show a trend line of different metrics: complexity, code coverage, maybe lines of code, who knows, you know, whatever metrics are of interest to you over time across multiple builds on a project. I can do that now in TeamCity from JetBrains, which is a great tool. I've been using that for years for Build Server. They have support for charts over time, and they can do this easily. I haven't seen how to do that in Azure DevOps, so that's something I want to do. That screenshot is a YouTube video. All right, fine. Let's go look at this screenshot. Copy that URL. Come over here. All right, that's not the right thing. Come in here. There we go. Go there. Let's go over here. Let's paste this thing in and watch it infect my computer with a virus or something. Okay, so what do you want to know? You got a bunch of names here and you want to do something with them? I have a list of words. I want to add every word to its own quotation mark so I can pick a random word from the list. All right. Look what he typed. He typed quote $1 quote, or he typed this regex. Okay. Well, yeah. I mean, this regex will match basically any word made up of characters A through Z, regardless of case. The hat at the beginning means match the beginning of the line. The dollar sign means match the end of the line. So for each line, he's matching basically the whole word. And then this $1 says take the first match from this regex, is all that means. So this says whatever we matched, in this case, you know, Samuel, put it in double quotes and slap a comma at the end of it. So that's all this means, is take the match, put quotes around it, and add a comma. There's not There's not a lot to that. I don't know if that helped you at all, but that's what that's doing. So the match in this case is the matching of these letters with a plus, meaning one or more of these letters anywhere on the line. Take that match, which will be like David, and put double quotes on either side of it with a comma. The problem with this particular solution is that you're always going to have a comma at the end, even though you're not going to have a word at the end. So you'll have to have a follow-up thing that'll strip that last comma off, typically. But there's lots of ways to solve the problem it sounds like you're describing without using a regex. And if you just want to get a random one of these things, another option would be to just pick a random number for what line to go to and grab it off of there, instead of having to throw it into an array, for example. Zuri, thank you for the follow. Raphael DCA, thank you for the follow. All right, let's get back to running code coverage, and let's get that code coverage going on the build server so that everybody can see it and not just me. So since I have this stuff locally, next thing I need to do is, I don't have that YAML file here, do I? The next thing I need to do is edit that file. So we're going to add a new solution folder called solution items, I guess. And we're going to add a new item, or existing item rather, which is going to be our Azure pipeline, just so we can edit it easily in Visual Studio. And then we're going to go steal some code from that other project again, and we're going to take this test with coverage bit and grab all of this and then publish it, and that's all we want right there. And you can do this with my stuff too, right? This clean architecture, the whole reason it's out there is so that people can use it as a starting point. But the nice thing about Azure pipelines is that those YAML files are public and they're text, and you can easily copy paste them. So if you want to do what you see me doing here right now, go out to the specification repo and steal my code, right? You have my permission. It's all open source. It's going to be on clean architecture here in about 5 minutes, so we'll see it here as well shortly. All right, so let's see what I need to change here to make this work in this project. It should be pretty much copy-pastable because I'm pretty good about that. Nothing in here should refer to specification, which is where it just came from. So the only thing that'll be an issue will be if I was not consistent about my project structure. And I think I was, right? So this is going to run .NET Test from the root of the repo, the repository, and it's going to look for a folder called tests. So if we look at my root of my repository, I have a folder called tests, and in there I have this clean architecture.tests. So that's fine, that's going to work. So this whole task looks fine, and it says no build, and actually I don't need this one anymore. So we'll comment that out, except we can't comment it out because Visual Studio doesn't know what to do with YAML files. I can just delete it. I don't need that. All right. Now notice here we're saying no build. That's a flag you can put on .NET Test so it doesn't build before it runs the tests. And I can do that because I just did a .NET build step up here, right? So there's no reason to build it again. Now this report generator, this is a special task that you can install. I've got a blog post that talks about how to install it. Let me pull that up real quick. Go there, and it's called report generator. It wasn't too long ago, but report generator. And the thing is, you can't just go into Azure Devops to install it. You've got to go to the marketplace URL to install it. Look what he typed. He typed then this. Okay, I mean, wouldn't a RAN be easier to make than try? Yeah, new here, by the way. Okay. Single Moro Burrito the Ringer. What are you posting about there? I am not myself. All right. So anyway, this report generator, you need to go to this marketplace URL right here to get this thing and install it in Azure DevOps. Otherwise, if you do copy paste my build script, my Azure pipeline YAML, it will not work for you because you won't have this extension installed in your organization. So after you install it in your organization, it's going to look like this. And I think I already have it installed, but if I don't, we're going to see that firsthand here in just a minute. So we'll jump back to Visual Studio. This looks fine. This should be fine and fine and fine and fine. Publishing, all this should work, right? I shouldn't have to change anything. It should just be like literally copy paste, don't change anything. Now I just need to do a commit. So just a clip of me channeling Abby Hoffman. Who's Abby Hoffman? So if you want to do what you see me doing here right now, go out to the specification repo and... Alright, there's a clip. Got it. Thank you. Alright, so over here, we're going to add all the things, and then we're going to commit... Where did the book? Steal this book. Ah, okay. Get commit dash m, getting code coverage working. And we'll just push it straight to master with the right syntax. Boom. Alright. Why is this still... Oh shoot. I hate it when I do that. Hang on. I did it in the wrong folder. This happens to me. That's what I get for using the command line and forgetting to go up to the root folder. For real this time. There we go. So I should have noticed that up here when I saw that after I did the commit that I still had these red ones that weren't there, but I was going fast, so I didn't pay attention. Okay, so now I've got 2 commits when I really only needed 1, but you know, that happens. So now if we come back out here, we see getting code coverage working is right there, getting code coverage for real is right there. Let's click on our build. Let's watch what happens. So fortunately these builds are pretty quick. This one I can kill because it didn't have the new pipeline. You're gonna let me do something when I click on that, right? Yeah, I just noticed my music doesn't seem to be playing. Where's my music? Winamp. Play, man. There we go. Alright. This button is not doing anything. It should usually let me cancel the thing. How about this button? No? There's no way to stop it. Alright, fine. It's not going to take too long. But this one is not the one we want to see, because it's this other one here that should be working. And there's our report generator, there's our publish. So once this thing finishes, we will magically see a new tab appear here, if it works. Wait for it. This is the segment of the show where you can ask me anything. But you have to be fast, because this actually goes pretty got boom, boom. Where is it? There it is. Look at that. Again, first try. Nice. Alright, so here we go. We get the same data here pretty much that we've got on the command line that I ran locally. It should be awfully close to if you do it with Visual Studio. And if I were building this with a... let me go back to my pipeline for a second. I'm building this with Linux, right? So we're building this on an Ubuntu Linux image. If I were building this on a Windows image, I could use Visual Studio tasks to calculate code coverage. So you don't have to use Coverlet to do this, to do code coverage. But if you want it to work cross-platform, you can't use Visual Studio on Unix, so you've got to use something like Coverlet. So that's why I'm doing that. Alright, so then let's look at this report. So this report shows me, nice colorful graph of what my code coverage looks like. I can see that my to-do item's got 100% coverage. Veruca Shada, what's a good resource to learn domain-driven principles? There's a few books. The blue book from Eric Evans is great. I am biased, but I would say that if you have a Pluralsight subscription or if you go use a trial, go watch Domain-Driven Design Fundamentals that Julie Lerman and I did. So if you go search for DDD Fundamentals, it should be about the first hit here. And this is the course I did with Julie Lerman. She apparently... Oh, there I am. Okay, so yeah. So we did this course together recently. It was a couple years ago, but it hasn't really changed in terms of the principles and patterns and things like that. So that should be a good start for you. If you don't have a Pluralsight subscription, just click on this 10-day trial and check it out. It's only like 4 hours. watch it at times 1.5 speed, it'll take you 3 hours or less. Speaking of Pluralsight, I should plug my new course. Let me go back there. Pluralsight. I have a course that literally just went live today called Refactoring for C# developers, which is this one. And what is it? 8.23. Man, they lied. Updated 8.22. Okay, so it went live last night. 8.22, August 22nd. So check that out. Hey, Ancient Coder. Yeah, Julie Lerman is well known for Entity Framework stuff. But yeah, so if you want to learn refactoring, learn different code smells, learn how to refactor, when you should refactor, all that good stuff, check out this course. It's brand new. I have a bigger refactoring course, which is still out there. They're gonna hide it at some point because it's got their old logo and stuff on it, and they don't like that. But it's 8 hours long. Only a few people have completed the whole thing, and so see if you can finish that one. You know, it covers a lot more in depth than the newer one does. The newer one's a little streamlined, and it's got all the new branding and everything. All right, that's enough self-promotion there. Let's look at this report a little bit more. I want to show that you can actually click into these things and see stuff, right? So in infrastructure and this EF repository, we can click into this, and down here you actually have the code in your code coverage results on the build server. Right, so I think that's pretty cool. It's not just a chart with some numbers. This is like, I can see the exact line of code that you didn't write a test for. So this is great for code reviews. This is great for just kind of looking and seeing, you know, what that stuff looks like. Smavic, you should refactor that course. I did. That's why I made a new course. Pluralsight told me I had to update it, or else they were just going to shut it down. Because again, it's got ancient logos and stuff on it, and they need their marketing to be aligned. Said how. Sorry, I skipped past you there. Have you had any issues with environment variables inside of Azure Devops? I had environment variables referenced in my tests that were never populated before the run. The same test referencing those vars worked in Travis CI. I haven't had that problem. I haven't done a lot of stuff with environment variables. I've got like one example where I'm using them that I can think of. I think they're working. So I've gotten them working. I'd have to see your exact problem to know if I could help at all. How are you setting the environment variable? For the one I'm doing, I think I might be setting it on a container, and then I'm building and running the container in my build pipeline. So it might be because I'm doing it all myself inside the container that I'm not running into your problem. But yeah, you should be able to use environment variables as part of your build pipeline. Okay, so I think we're done, right? Like, I think I said I was going to add code. Oh, I was going to refactor some things too. But most of what I wanted to get done is now done. I want to make sure the badges work though. So let's go back out to GitHub, Ardalis, clean, architecture, that one. So that's good. That's good. Hey, it's working. Sweet. All right. So code coverage is 49%. Awesome. Like I said, I think we're done with the main task. So the other, oops, I didn't want to put that in there. No, we'll pull that out of there. Let's go over here. That can go away. The load test project that never actually worked. Alright, get that out of there. Probably helps my test coverage not to have that. Because .NET build was probably including this thing in its build. How did you set up DevOps to use your pipeline file? I normally just create the pipeline manually in DevOps. You can do it either way. It's a chicken and egg thing. You can either go into DevOps and say create me a new build over here. So I hit this plus sign. So give me a new build, and it'll say, well, who are you? And it's not going to let me do it because I'm not logged in. Never mind, I can't show that to you. It'll ask you for a template, and you'll say yes, create this template, and it'll give you a text file in Azure DevOps, and it'll say, hey, do you want to commit this? And then, so that's what I did, I think, from the start, and I just said yes, commit it. So I used the default ASP.NET Core template, and it created that that simple one that we saw. If I come in here and look at the history on this file, we'll be able to see it here. So this you can see Azure Pipelines committed this, right? I didn't come up with this from scratch. It committed it, and it looks like this. You know, it's this real simple one. It's got their header here because it's their template, and then I modified it from there. Okay, does that help? And so that's usually how I'll start. I'll usually go into Azure DevOps, get it set up, point it at my GitHub repo, add a new build, let it go ahead and create its template, and then I tweak it from there. Said how I set the environment variable inside of the Azure DevOps UI in the project. From memory, I ended up switching, so unfortunately I removed the project. Okay, yeah, I understand. I don't think I've had that problem, but Azure DevOps is still a moving target. They're improving it all the time. Last week I was doing a thing for specification project, and ran into a problem that I have a bug open for that they haven't fixed yet. Like, I'll share it with you. You can see what the issue is. Let's see, what was it? Azure DevOps GitHub issue. Yes, you can't see what I'm doing, but give me a second. Where is it? I don't remember which repo I had to open the issue on. That's why I'm searching for it in my email. I don't know. I can't see it. Man. My search foo is failing me. Anyway, the issue was, do I have specification? Yeah, here's specification. Let's get its build. This build is erroring out. No, not that. Stupid badges. This build. Let's go to builds. So, see all these errors here? This is because when I'm trying to do this, this path to this coverage file is denied. Right? And so this is a bug that Azure DevOps is working on. My point being that it's not perfect, but it's not done either, right? So they're actively working on this to fix this. This was a known issue that they had closed and said it was fixed in April, but I'm running into it now here in August. So hopefully they'll get it fixed. And apparently it's an issue with the build image. So the Ubuntu whatever build image that I'm using has this problem. All right. Someone else just followed. I heard it. And I have to pull this up to see it. Sorrent Muti and Martin Van Stam, I missed you. Thank you both for the follow. It's awesome. Alright. So the next thing I wanted to do with clean architecture, now that we've got code coverage, perhaps, is do any kind of like low-hanging fruit to get it a little better. Because 49% is yellow. I don't like yellow. So let's look at this and see, like, what would we most want to test? And I think the things in core would be the most important, but this to-do item service doesn't do anything. All it does is make sure that this event's not null. So I could write a test for that, but that's kind of lame. But maybe I need that test, that lame test anyway, just so that I improve my coverage. The other thing said how I was under the impression it was well established. Anyway, I don't know which one you're saying now. Now you say wasn't. I wasn't aware and I was under the... Okay. Yeah, I mean, it's solid. And it's been coming from TFS for a while, but it still has things that they need to fix and features they need to add. Like the feature I was saying at the start of the stream that I want is I want to be able to take the... where is it? I want to take one of these code coverage numbers, like, let's say line coverage. Let's say that's the number I want to track. I want to be able to see that on my overview, or even just on the build, the main build thing, and see it over time, right? So I want to be able to track with a spark line or some kind of a line chart and see that there was 49% this time, but over back 3 builds ago it was 30%, and it's going up. It's going in the right direction, right? Or on the overview, this could have, under project stats, this could have some more interesting data than 60% build success. Show me that I've got a 45% code coverage, and it's gone up 5% in the last 7 days, right? That would be useful to me. Just the build success is useful. I mean, it's interesting. But like I say, TeamCity has some really nice charts that I'd like to see Azure DevOps get into their system. JT Som said how, thanks for the follows. Virtual Ninja CH, thank you for the follow too. All right, yeah, so let's write some more tests. Let's do that. So come over here and we'll say, all right, I've got this service. I really don't want this service to be here anyway because it's not really what it is. So there's a pattern that I talk about in DDD fundamentals called domain events. And domain events are really nice for decoupling things that happen in your domain model from side effects that affect things outside of your system. For example, if you want to send an email every time somebody checks out their cart, you could go into the cart entity and put in a bunch of logic in there to send emails. But then the next time you want to also do something else and also do something else, you have to end up putting all that logic inside that checkout method of cart. Instead, you can just raise an event, a cart checked out event, and then you can have any number of handlers for that event. And those handlers can take in dependencies. They can have a repository, or they can have an email service or other things injected into them, whereas your entity really can't, or at least it really shouldn't. So it makes it easy for you to decouple your domain entities from these other external services that they might use. And so this to-do item service it's been in this solution since forever. Since it's handling this to-do item completed event, it's really a handler, is how I would call it. And I'd call it something like, to-do item completed event handler, or something more specific about what it was doing. Like in this case, it's doing nothing. But let's say we wanted it to send an email, and we could fake that for now. So we could say something like, item completed email notification handler, right? And then control dot on that and rename it. And of course, Visual Studio is not quite smart enough to know that it really ought to do that to the file as well. So we'll do that. And now we've got a better name for that. All right, so this thing takes in a domain event, and maybe it takes in an email sender too, right? And the usual ASP.NET Core sample project template has an iEmail sender interface that it brings in. So we could create one of those here as just a fake thing. I want to be careful about adding too much junk into this template that people have to just rip out when they use it themselves. But maybe it's worth showing that just to see how you would use it. I'm on the fence about that. I think for now I'll leave that and we'll just do the rename. Now, since it's an event handler, it doesn't really belong in services now either. So I'm going to pull it out of there and we'll put it under events, I guess. Or should we put it in handlers? I don't know. Probably I would create a separate to-do item aggregate feature thing and I'd put them all together. But at the moment it's broken out by types of things. So again, it's like, do I want to follow the convention that's here or establish a new one? And I guess we'll follow the convention that's here. We'll say handlers. And we'll take this out of there, put it into there. Now I still have a services folder, and I'm going to want to have some kind of service in here. So we'll just add a class. We'll call it some domain service, and put this in here. And then maybe we'll just give it a to-do. This would handle operations involving multiple aggregates or entities. Good enough. Alright, so it's a stub, right? But it's enough to keep that folder around, because Git will get rid of the folder if it has nothing in it. Alright, so this notification handler needs a test to say that when we call its handle method, if we pass in null, we expect some kind of an error. So we can come down here to our unit tests, and we can write a quick test for this. So under core, mark item complete, that's going to raise the event, but we'll create a new handlers folder so it mirrors our core's project structure. We'll copy this test in here for the sake of being fast. And when we call, what do we call this thing now? We call that, it has a handle method. What should happen? It throws exception given null event argument, or it does nothing given event instance. There we go. So we create var handler equals new item completed event notification handler, one of those, and bring in namespace with control dot, and we say this is where I have to always look up the syntax for xunit with a exception. The question is, do I already have an exception on any of these? I don't think I do, so this might be my first exception that I need to write. Alright, what's the xunit exception? I'll just Google it. There we go. Assert.throws. Steal that from my friend Hadi Hadiri. Exception equals assert.throws, some exception. This is going to be argument null exception, I believe. And we're going to call handler.handle with null. Alright, and that should run just the way it is. Alright, and then we're going to do the same thing here. I should run these tests, before, but now we're going to say handler.handle new whatever that event is called, do item completed event, like that, and that takes a to-do item, so also new to-do item. And I just don't want that to blow up. So if it gets through that, then the test passes. Alright, now I just need to rename my file. Because again, Visual Studio doesn't do that. Oops. I wish it did. Okay, now we can run these tests, just these two all by themselves. And build pass. There we go. These are both green. Green, green. So you can see these green check marks tell us that the test passed. Don't need link. So now we can come in and check this in. Alright, and that should improve our code coverage a little bit. Alright, anybody have any questions? The next thing I would want to do in here is actually split these core and integration things into separate test projects. And this coverage coverture, I probably don't want that. Here's what this looks like. So this shows the XML file that's calculating the code coverage. I probably don't want that checked into source control, so I probably want to nuke that and ignore it. Add it to my git ignore file. So let's do that. Delete that. I think I already have it in specifications git ignore, which I don't have up anymore. Several other ones. I don't see it there. Unless one of these is going to do it. Start at coverage. Maybe that'll do it. Let's verify that. Is that the only one? That's the only one. Alright. There we go. Hopefully that does the trick. And let's commit that now. Git ignore and get rid of that. Alright. coverage. I don't know if that actually is going to ignore it. We'll see when I next run it. Coverage file and add to get ignore. Alright, that probably killed enough time that our build mostly passed, so let's go look at our build and see if our coverage got any better. Coverage is 100% on a different project. That's not helpful. Clean architecture builds. It's still going. Alright. Coverage is up to 50%. Alright, that's something. So that was this one finishing. And its code coverage now is 50% line coverage. We'll say that's good enough. And up here, there's our to-do item completed notification handler with two tests covering it, making it 100% covered. Then what's not covered? There's a lot of stuff out here, like these models. So let's talk about that for a minute. Should you do code coverage? Should you care about code coverage for DTOs? Right. So if I look at this index model, it's got well, this is actually a page model, so it's not just a DTO. So it's got actually a repository and some other stuff. So probably I do want to cover a page model. But just a straight view model that was purely a DTO, like this to-do item DTO, I wouldn't worry too much about code coverage on this. Apparently I've got it, so that's nice. But making sure that every get and every set on your DTOs is hit, you can actually do that with just one test. And it might be a worthwhile test, but don't write lots and lots and lots of tests. Just write one that uses a reflection, goes through all your DTOs, hits all their setters, and make sure it can read the values with the getters, and call it done. A lot of folks will exclude DTOs from code coverage so that they don't even have to worry about it. And that's fine too, for the most part. So I think we're in good shape with this. Alright, so the next thing I was thinking I would do a little bit today, I'm really kind of behind the times on what my stream looks like, in terms of like all the fancy bot things and stuff like that. So I'm going to try and pull up stream elements and actually do some meta streaming maintenance here for what's left of today. So I've got about an hour left. I'm planning on streaming. Don't think I'm going to do too much more back with clean architecture. I think I've covered what I want. Let's see if I have any. There's 22 issues here. Maybe we should actually look at some of this. That was a good question. What's the infrastructure registry? Let's see. Yeah, that should probably go away. Somebody could totally pull request that. Is it clean to have artifact referenced in infrastructure? Yeah, probably. So some of these are just questions I should probably answer. But you probably don't want to listen to that. Mapping a complex DTO to an entity. That's a common question. Do you want to use DTOs for that, and what are the issues with it? So I don't think I'm using AutoMapper in clean architecture yet, am I? I certainly could be, but I don't think I pull it in by default. If I did, it would be here, and I don't see it. Yeah, so I'm certainly not opposed to using AutoMapper, but I don't think I need it just yet. Yeah, alright. I'm going to do what I said I was going to do. We're going to go do some stream elements stuff. Let me go over here and see if I can log into my stream elements. Stream elements. And also, let's pull up my Twitch. Got some Russian page. Oh. Stream. I can't type at all today. There we go. So connect with Twitch, maybe? Yeah, sure. I've done this before. Okay, so there's all of that. And there's some way to add things to this. Where is the Stream Elements widget stuff? It's not under themes, is it? No, I don't want that. Import things, no. Dark theme, that's definitely better. Chat stats, that's interesting. Veruca, man, look, you're number 2, right behind Karsten for chatting. Alright, so that's stats. Where's the, nobody's giving me any money, that's fine. Where's the thing with the chatbots and all that stuff? I thought that was under Stream Elements. Let's see, let's go to my stream. Alright, so here we are, and this is a time-delayed view of what we're seeing. Just gonna start to go off into the distance here as it catches up. And I've got chat, and I've got a few other things going on here. I don't have is a bot that will say, hey, what are we working on today? Or periodically post messages. So if I want to add a bot to Twitch stream, let's do that. So Nightbot seems to be a common one I've heard people using. Anybody on the chat have any recommendations on a bot that I should look at? What else are people using? What bot does C# Fritz use? Anybody know? Y'all still paying attention? It's like Stream Elements is following me, so I don't know how to add a Stream Elements bot. Stream Elements bot setup with that. His is a homemade bot. Alright, so he's still using that one? I thought he was using a different one. And Stream Elements. Okay, so Stream Elements features chatbot there. That says YouTube. Activate now. Stream Elements will take care of everything else. Alright, sure. I'll click that button and see what it does. Good job. The bot is all set. I thought I'd done this once before. Continue to set up bot filters. Alright. I'm in filters off mode apparently. So remove messages containing all caps, remove messages containing links that are not whitelisted. Nobody's being a jerk and posting lots of links they shouldn't be, so I'll leave all this stuff open until people are jerks. Remove bad words, remove messages with too many emotes, remove long stuff. Yeah, I think these are all fine. Alright, so this is just removing stuff. What about adding stuff? How do I make it so my bot will post messages? Stream Elements bot post periodic messages. Does it know how to do that? Smab UK is going to test out how many emotes he can put on there. Timers are messages that run on your chat automatically. Are they now? Alright. Jump to section. Okay. So how do I get to a timer? Timer. The article is not at all helpful. I probably have to watch this thing. I don't want to watch that thing. Okay, I do want to watch.
Hey, what?
I just don't want to listen to it. So, show me where to set up a timer. Chat alerts, bingo, chat alerts settings. So where's chat alerts at? Module, spam filters, timers. Alright. So in here, maybe it's an overlay. Nope, I don't have any overlays. No, it's still not that. Bots. Okay, chat commands. Hey, there we go. Now we're getting somewhere. Commands. I can enable some of these. Alright. You could bet. You can account info, chat stats. How do I do chat help? Is that a thing? It's one type help? Or commands? Commands. There we go. So if you type commands, I wonder if this will work. You can find a list of all the commands here. Hey, cool. Alright, that works. What if I want to know the topic of the thing? Let's see, leaderboard, that's there, right? Leaderboard. That didn't do anything. Check out the points leaderboard here. Okay. Copy. Leaderboard has no data. Okay. And how do I see the commands? That was help. And what was the other thing I want to see? What are we working on now? So, you can skip a song. That's cool. So how do I find what the current topic of this stream is? Uptime, tipping. I thought there was a command that would tell you what the current stream topic was. Maybe that's a custom thing people do. Alright, so I've got a bot, and it's working, and it's enabled, so that's all good. Let's Google for this. Twitch bot display FAQ project. Is project it? I didn't see that as a thing. Nope, that's not. Well, it's not a built-in one. I don't want to have to write a custom one if I don't have to. Custom commands, do whatever. Must be custom. Yeah. Variables. Well, there's a variable for user stuff. Is there a variable for channel topic? Channel name? That's just Ardalis. Viewers, views, followers, subs, points, display name. Title? Channel title? No, that's the channel. I want to know the description, the current description of what we're doing. If I come out here and look at this, it says right here, clean architecture, code coverage, maybe some stream enhancements. That's what we're doing right now, stream enhancements. Someone else thinks I look like Alec Baldwin. I get that a lot. Fit letter. That's right. I am Alec Baldwin. I just go by Steve Smith because it's a generic name I came up with. Alright, so what is this called? This is the title of the stream, or what is it? I go over here to my dashboard, and this is called the title. Stream information title. So there should be a way here to get the title, the channel title, right there, or status. Alright, so that's all I want. So if I say a custom command of like project or something, I just want it to be $title in curly brackets, right? So we can go to custom commands and add a new command, command template, title, there we go. Alright, fine, that was easy. How about that? It's got a template for it, it's custom, so title. Yes!
Pow. Wham. Kazap. First try.
Since Smab UK, you thought it might be project, I'm going to make it project too. And we'll submit that one also. It'll just be an alias for title. It's going to work? Come on, it's right there. How come title works but project doesn't? It's just slow? I thought FAQ would be a good one too. see what other things they have built in as templates. Steve, you've always been this cool, calm, and collected, or you highly strung your life? I need some life lessons. I have always been pretty even-keeled. It takes a lot to get me excited. Like, I've actually been in Iraq, and we would have, like, occasionally, not all the time, but, you know, we'd have roadside bomb go off, and it was like, okay, you know, you gotta get loud, because things get loud at that time, but you don't have to panic, right? So it's like, you know, I've got stressful situations I've been in, and I'm still just, you know, let's do this, come on. Because I was the platoon leader, so I had to be calm and confident and all that. So, you know, writing software is, you know, not a high stress operation most of the time. Yeah, I don't need to be out there right now. This is a lot more comfortable. But yeah, it's yeah, it was stressful. That was a while ago. That was 2004. That was like 15 years ago. All right, other templates. Okay, I understand. Thanks. Points, vanish. What vanish do? What the heck is that? Time out somebody. I don't know what that even does. What does timing out somebody do? I guess that's like how you leave. Game. That's like what game are you playing? I'm playing Visual Studio. I wonder what that would do. Let's submit that. Because I'm not playing a game, but let's see what that does. What game does it think I'm playing? Software development? Do I have to set a variable somewhere for what game I'm playing? Where would that even be? Here, do I set a game somewhere? I don't see a game anywhere. I've never set what game I'm playing. It's not tags. Alright, let's go ask. How to set what game I'm playing in Twitch. Because my game is going to be Visual Studio. Go to the sources panel in OBS. No. That's not it. Dumb question. How does Twitch know what I'm playing? There we go. Twitch doesn't know unless you tell them. Twitch, figure out what you're playing. In your dashboard under stream info, there's a title and game. Type in the game you're playing into that playing box. No, I don't see that. Not on my stream info. Is it off of my profile? Stream info, category, audience. It's not there. Anybody know? How do I set what game I'm playing? Do I have to set a tag? I didn't. Chill stream. How do I change what game I'm playing? Switch games. Go to your dashboard, update the game. Okay. Stream API. Is there a command I can do? I don't see it. Alright, well I enabled this thing. Channel is playing game. It didn't seem to do anything. Global cooldown, it has a price of 100. I don't know what that means. But it didn't tell me I couldn't afford to run the command, so... Variables... Game is not a variable. No, there's one. There. Set game. Ooh, I can set the game. Alright. How do I do that? That's a... So if I have to put this into a command, don't I? If I do this. Set game. That's not going to do anything like that, is it? I think I need that to go into a command. So I can do custom command, add a new command, command templates to set the game. Shout out, stream. Shout out's a good one. Check out blank, they're playing blank at blank. That's a good one. We'll use that one. But how do I set my game? Let's use that shout out one as another template. This time it'll be set game, or how about set VS, and we'll say, oh, what was that second? There it is. I just want to run this. No, not that. Alright. I don't want it to send anything. Except maybe to tell me that it did it. Oh, you can do command aliases. That's cool. I should have done that for game project Untitled. Let's go do that real quick. Let's edit title. Show advanced. Do you have any aliases? No. Project would be a good alias. Submit. Alright. Now project can go away. Delete. Alright, and if we do project, it does nothing. Are any of these working anymore? Title worked before. Title still works. I don't know why project doesn't work. Shout out. I just want to test this. Smab UK. You're not streaming, so I don't know if that's going to do anything. Doesn't look like it. Oh wait, there you are. Cool. Check out SMAB UK, they're playing Science and Technology. Alright, so that's what mine will probably say. In fact, can I shout out myself? Yeah, you don't stream. That's okay. Shout out to myself. Hey, check me out. Aren't I great? Alright, I'm playing Science and... Okay, so Science and Technology is my game. Cool. I wonder if I can change that, though. Or if it has to be a known thing. Because I still kind of want it to be Visual Studio. I bet I can't change it. I bet I'm stuck with that. Category. That must be my game. Category is C#. Visual Studio. Science and Technology it is. Alright. Alright, what else can we do with a bot that's cool? Can it be alias to SO? Yeah, it is. It already was. SO me. Sorry. Alright, so I've got a bot. That's awesome. I still think I want a timer to say stuff. So how do I get a stream elements timer? That was still what I was looking for. Add stream elements timer. Timer, stream elements. I think I was already here. Right? Button image plus new timer. Alright, so there's that. So I just have to find the right place to go to add a timer. Do I have to use OBS Live? I shouldn't. Do I have to have an overlay? activate the chatbot. Did that. Get tips. Add overlays. I think that's what I want. But I don't want your stupid theme. I just want an overlay. Super themes, alerts. Maybe that's what I need. Alerts. All different colors of alerts. I just want something in the chat. I don't want something floating. So, maybe that's my problem. Timer, name, message, interval, chat. The timer is what I want, so where the heck is it? Not doing that. Maybe it's a module. Module, chat alerts. Get alerted in chat when an activity happens. That's cool. Announce in chat when you go live. Stream tweets. That could be interesting. Magic 8 ball. Build an emote pyramid. Okay. Congratulate. I don't really need to encourage that behavior. Chat alerts. Let's look at this. Thank you for following. Alright, that's good. Turn that on. That sounds good. Tips. So-and-so tipped something. User just hosted. Those are all cool. Yeah, let's do that. That's good. I don't know how to test those, but sounds good. I can add more messages later. Okay, that's fine. I still want to see a timer. So what does that look like? There, way down there at the bottom. Alright, it's hiding. Add a timer. Thank you. What should my timer say? I've forgotten why I even wanted a timer. I could spam the chat saying people should follow me on Twitter or my blog, or I could say what we're working on. That's the title, right? So today we're working on title. Would that work? Something like this. And stream title reminder, let's say. Don't need an offline interval. Minimum amount of chat lines required to activate. Yeah, that seems fair. Alright, so submit that. Do your thing. Okay, so theoretically every 5 minutes, as long as there's been 5 chats in the meantime, this thing will say, today we're working on title. I don't know if that variable works. Chat commands. We'll find out though, won't we? Variables. Dollar title. Right? Dollar title or dollar status. Alright. I don't think I quite got that right. Timer. Edit. Yeah, I don't have the dollar. There we go. That's better. There's no test button here. How do I test this thing? I want to see it work. Online interval every 1 minute with 0 go. I'll just spam the chat with this thing. Tipping. I don't think anyone's going to leave me much in the way of tips. Set your tipping page so people can show their support. Yeah, maybe later. But your dashboard did have some stuff. Will it fire? Let's wait and see. I'm wondering. I would like for it to fire. I'm killing time while I wait. Earn money from tips, add things, import from other tools. Nightbot. I've seen other people use Nightbot. I don't know if it has any benefits that I need. Have you done any projects with GraphQL? I haven't really. Veruca, I've looked at it. I've seen some presentations. Corey House did a talk on it at a conference that I was speaking at, and I caught part of his talk on it. Most of my stuff is SQL Server backend and you know, like a REST web API front end. It's on my list of things I want to check out and get to know better, but it's not something I've really played with much yet. Media request. Interesting. Will it fire? It's been a minute. It has to have been a minute, right? So why is my stupid timer thing not working? 0 lines. I'm online. Should be every minute. Today we're working on whatever. You can use command variables to make dynamic response. Hey, look at that. Finally. Today we're working on... Alright, so that worked. Sweet. Okay. It's slow, but we'll take it. I think if it came up about every 15 minutes, that'd probably be about right. And we'll say it needs at least 10 lines. We need it to stream off, at least stream off the chat so people aren't going to see it, right? So every 15 minutes or 10 lines of chat. Let's do that. Alright, what else could we randomly spam the chat with that would be useful? How about how to get commands? The commands was what? Commands, right? There we go. So that would be useful to say every now and then. So that's what I want. New timer. 10 lines seems too small. Well, the minimum was 5, but yeah, I can make it bigger. Commands info. Type commands for a list of chat commands. And that can be about every 30 minutes. We don't need that. And this doesn't need to be there very often. How about 40 lines? 40 line, that seems a lot. If it's only every half hour, we'll say 25. There we go. Submit. Stream title reminder. You think 10 lines is too strong? How about we'll say 15? I don't usually get a lot of chatting, so 15 seems good. Thoughts on serverless apps? Serverless to me is good for certain scenarios, mostly having to do with stuff that's not real time. Things are getting better on this front, but my experience thus far with serverless is both with Amazon Lambda and Azure Functions. You can't count on them being fast, is the main thing. So once they're spun up, they're quick. But when you hit one for the first time in a while, it has to spin up the thing. Or if you're hitting one of them a lot and it gets under load, it needs to expand, so it adds another node, which it should do for you automatically. That new node may take up to like 5 or 10 minutes sometimes to spin up. Usually a lot less, but it's going to take at least several seconds to spin up. And that's the issue with trying to use them as part of a web scenario. So I'm not using them as a backend for any web front end, whether it's an API, whether it's a web app. None of them are calling out to like serverless to respond with a web page or do part of the processing for a web request, mainly because of that huge variability in response time. Now, if I have a web thing and someone makes a request, and in response to that request I put a job on a queue, and then something needs to pick that job off the queue and do some work, serverless works great for that, right? It's basically just another type of web job. And so I use it for those types of scenarios, but not for actual real-time handling a web request. Does that help? Type commands. Yeah, that looks good. Alright, so I think I'm pretty good with those channel things. Anybody else have any questions? I think I might jump back into clean architecture stuff now. Because I don't think I need anything. What's missing in my stream here that other streamers have that's cool? That I should add. If I get rid of this, and I go here, I'm still muted. So I've got, you know, isn't this supposed to have something in it? That should show who's online. I got 30 people watching. That's supposed to say 30 right there. I've got my list of people. I don't have like a tip jar. I don't have like emotes bouncing around on the screen. I don't have some of that fun stuff. Why do I have black bars on the side of this? That's weird. Did they make it wider recently? Or is that just the resolution of my browser? It's weird. Alright. I'd like to fix that. Let's fix that. Why is that not there? So in OBS, right here, this is what my OBS looks like. That's a little trippy. But that right there is supposed to have who's here. And I don't know why it doesn't. What is that reading from? That's viewers count. Viewers count is supposed to be coming from this Tyoger Twitch Tools viewers count, and apparently that's not working. Did this Tyoger thing go away? That seems to be blank. That's not working well, is it? So how about, is there a stream elements viewer count widget? Viewer count in an overlay. Not just barbell viewer count. Current viewer count widget. Subfellow no viewer count. Alright. Show live viewer count somewhere. Count commands, $count and get count. That's not quite what I want. An overlay. Alright, so where's overlays? I was looking for that before. My overlays. Create a new overlay. What game is this for? It's not for a game. Overlay name. Count. It's not what I think it is. It's a window that contains your stream preferences. That's weird. Alright, let me see. So this thing, whatever it is, broke at some point. So I need an OBS source for current viewers. Showing viewer count on stream, right? But it's down, so I said to make the same tool. Yeah, well yours is down now, dude. Demo. Right. Yours doesn't work now either. Stream counter, free. That's what I just had. How to add. Let's try that. This looks great. There's a viewer count widget under Streamlabs. Alright. That sounds fun. Let's do that. So Streamlabs, I also have an account for, I think, with Twitch. Okay, so now we're on Streamlabs. Sure, connect PayPal. Continue. Engage your viewers with CloudBot. No, I'm using the other bot, so we'll skip that. Nope, skip that. Alert box. I think that I already have that. I don't know if it's still running, but I think I have that set up. Skip that. Alright, so all widgets. Viewer count. That's what I want. Yeah, bright green. That's totally the color I want. Let's see. My color was this thing. Let's assume that's a good color. And purple. Sure, that looks good. Now it's showing a 10, I don't know why. Twitch viewers, that's fine. Your font is probably fine. Save settings. Alright. I don't think this URL contains anything that I don't want to show, but we'll copy that and come in here and paste it in here. It's got a token apparently. We'll say OK. And oh, it includes the thing. Interesting. Right, so there's that. I don't really want it to include the viewer icon. Is there a way to tell it not to do that? I don't really need a background color, do I? I want the text to be that color. That's what I want. So I want this to be this. Right? And then this can be just white, like that. That looks fine. White. Save. Right. And then I guess I could just hide that one and move it. What is that? Oh, that's in there. That's part of my image. Alright, so I'd have to do... No, don't want that. Oh, come on. Really? You're not gonna let me undo? Viewer count. Alright, this thing I want to lock. If I can. There we go. And this I can move around. Viewer count. Why is it only showing part of it? I must needs come over here and change that. Oh, I see what you're doing. Alright, width 100. Is that better? Oh, there, now it shows a number. That's good. 200. No, that's not really helping. Right, okay, thanks destroyed QC. I didn't think that I wanted to show that URL because it told me not to. The old URL I was using didn't have a token in it, it just had my username. Alright, I think I don't want that. There we go. That looks alright, doesn't it? Let's see, can we see it here? So, it's not quite the right color, but it's got a little shadow kind of thing going with it. There's gotta be a way to actually hide that thing, but we'll leave it for now. Alright, now the question is, why is it 0? Because that's not right. There's 28 right there, 0 right there. This widget's less useful if it's not actually going to work. Show me my Twitch viewers. Do I have to enable it or something? Got it. No. Launch? Maybe launch. No, that's just going to open it up here. Right, so why are you 0? I don't know why it's 0. Alright, enough of that. Got it there. Twitch viewer count. I did all that. Yep. Okay, great. Good. It's about a minute behind. Alright. Okay, fine. Done with that, done with that, done with that, done with that. We added some stuff. What should we do with our last bit of time? I think I'm going to refactor a little bit on clean architecture because I don't like having core and integration together. Those generally are better off in separate projects. So I'm going to rename this to be one type of test, unit test or integration test, and the other one to be the other one. So I'm going to add a new project, and it's going to be a test project for XUnit test project. I'll say next. We'll call these functional tests. I think that's a better name. Location, location, location. They're going to be in tests. Okay, good. Create. There we go. Alright, now functional tests, by my current use of that term, are going to be... Oh shoot, now I'm going to have to create 3 of them. Okay, fine. These functional tests are going to be these web tests. These are my functional tests. So I'm going to pull these out of there and put them into there, along with anything that that thing needs. And let's do this again. We're going to add a new project, test project, MS test, next, back in tests, select, clean architecture dot integration tests. There we go. Integration tests are going to be all the ones that are in this integration folder, specifically the data stuff. Pull that out of there, put this in here. Alright. Unit test 1 can go away. Same in here, unit test 1 can go away. Alright. Then this last one, we're going to rename this to unit tests. Alright, so let's build. 2 failed. What? Oh, right, because they're not going to have all the things they need. Show me my error list. Right. Okay, so unit test probably doesn't need all this stuff, but most of the stuff is going to have to go into functional tests. Just check the versions on these. 241, 241, that's better than that. 16.2 for a test SDK, I'm on the same one, so those can all go away. Coverlet collector, I don't know what that is. I don't think I need it. So I think I can just take exactly all this stuff and paste it into integration tests as well. Alright, now it should build. Except I don't have project references yet. Right, so you need a new project reference on web, and you need a new project reference on infrastructure. And probably you also need core, but maybe it'll get that transitively. Let's do... Yeah, that needs core. So let's do it this way. Dependencies, add a reference to core, and you didn't actually do what I thought you were going to do for that other one. Alright. I don't usually add references using the way that I was showing you, and it doesn't work. That's why I don't usually do it that way, apparently. Alright. You did show your token, yeah, I know. I'll have to reset it at this point. Destroyed QC. It's not my fault, man. I hit launch thinking it would like make the thing actually work, and it decides to launch a browser window with the token in it right there. Like, oh, you guys aren't being as nice as you could be. I was hoping nobody noticed, but you know. Alright, so let's see what else is going on here. 2 failed. This does need EF. Let's just go to unit test and see what all I was referencing. Everything. Alright, we'll just do the same thing. Need that. Integration tests now fail because they need everything. Or at least they need that. That's for sure. And well, may as well do that. They shouldn't need web though. Okay, they need web too. Fine. Why is it this worked before, but now it's not happy? You got all the Entity Framework stuff. Must be some other problem that's preventing it from working. Hey, destroyed QC, is that token something I can just reset somewhere? Because if I just reset it, then I don't have to worry about uploading it. To do item builder is not in this project, is it? No, that's over here. So if I want to use that builder from other tests, I have to reference this test from it, which is fine. So should be dot integration tests. Oh, that's probably the problem. Dot data. There we go. I want that. That should be my namespace for all these guys. And that, and that. Okay. Cool. Thanks, Destroyed QC. I will do that. Alright, so I still need to do item builder. Just sent you an MP. What is MP? Message private? Unit tests. Alright, unit test reference so I can get to this to do item builder. Using that. Now, clean up namespaces everywhere. This becomes unit tests. Rename that. Hey, look at that. That one's renamed already. That can go away. For to be fat to be? I don't know. Thanks for the follow, man. Oh, look at that. My Stream Elements bot did the right thing. That's cool. That's right. Checking namespaces here. That looks right. Code coverage is still running. That's cool. Alright, so this is integration tests. That's alright. These guys need to say functional tests. Like that. That looks right. That's that. That's that. And that's that. I should probably put this in its own folder, but for now we'll say that's good. Fat is fine. Alright, Fat, thank you for the follow. Neo Ashi Dashi. No, it's Nico Ashidashi. Cat stance. Neo Ashi, where's your name come from? Hi Steve, thanks for doing this. You're very welcome. I used to do karate, and there was a stance called Nico Ashidashi that your name reminded me of. For those wondering what the heck I'm talking about. Why are we still not building? This is very insightful, except that I can't build my projects. To do item cannot be found. That's just a namespace. That's fine. What else you got? Package reference is not necessary when targeting .NET Core 3 or higher. I didn't think I was. Everything should be 2.0, right? Oh no. No. That's my problem. I'm pretty sure. They should all be .NET Core App 2.2. We will upgrade to 3.0, but not today. Let's see if cleaning helps. Well, that did not help. Now I have 200 errors. Oh, now I have 2 errors. Alright. Rebuild failed. That's better. I know how to fix this one. Control dot, enter. And that's going to be the same deal. Alright. No. It's not the same deal. So you gotta be careful with the control dot enter, because that one said generate type, which is not what I want. So it just created this for me, which I don't want. Now in this case I need it to reference the unit test one. I wonder if I need this XUnit runner. Shit, I don't remember why I needed that. This was in functional tests, which needs a reference to unit test, so they can find that no op thing. Now if I do a control dot, it should ask me for the namespace. There we go. On your previous stream, if we were building a web API with CQRS pattern, should we use the specification pattern on the query side only? No, I don't think so. I use specifications frequently with just, you know, the need to get stuff. Well, let me think about that. If you're being strict about CQRS, then how are you going to fetch your aggregate? I guess your repositories would always eager load the entire object for every aggregate, so you would never have to use a specification for that to say including this, include that. You could also use owned entities now in EF Core 2.2 or 2.1 or wherever they added it. Those are getting better in 3.0, so you could just use owned entities for everything that's in the aggregate. Then you wouldn't even have to use an include statement. They'll just always be there. That's one of the things I use specifications for quite a bit right now. So if you didn't need to use a specification for that, what else would you use a specification for? They're pretty much just for reads. Yeah, I could see that. I could see having a rule to say we're only going to use specifications as part of our read model. At which point your specifications, if they're generic, the generic type T that they're working with won't be an entity, it won't be an aggregate, it'll be a read model. Typically, I would guess. So does that make sense? I'm not doing that currently, but I think that's where I would land. It's on my to-do list to add Mediator to the eShop on Web sample. And I probably could or should add it to this as well. My challenge with this clean architecture template is that it's meant to be a starting template, not a whole sample app. So I try not to add more stuff to it than is needed for someone just to get started. Which is why I didn't have it broken up into multiple different tests before, but now I do. So let's see what that does. Let's try and run all our tests. Let's pin this over here, run all our tests, see if they still pass. Now nobody asked this, and I didn't really explain it, but one of the reasons why I'm using this report generator task here, because you don't actually need that. You could just run collect coverage and take the output and skip this step entirely, and then publish your code coverage, and it should work. What this will help with, though, is when you have multiple different test outputs with their own code coverage files, this will pull those all in. So now my challenge is, if I run this with code coverage, let's steal this again, I need to be able to tell, I need to change this task to be able to find them. Maybe that does it already though. Maybe it's just going to work. Well, you know what, let's just see if it works. I think it might just work. I think I solved this problem already somewhere else. Git status, that's moving stuff. Right, git add. We only have a few minutes left. I want to see this thing work on the build server. Git commit -m splitting tests into separate projects. Is that good? That looks good. Git push. Taking one step further on the read side, with EF Core, we can use query of T to build your async read-only repository. Sure, yeah. Use query of T. Yeah, you could do that. The other thing is, with all your read-only repository stuff, I don't remember if query does that for you automatically, but you can obviously make it as no tracking, because you're never going to use that thing for anything but display. I think it's already it's not returning entities anyway, so they're not going to be tracked anyway. So I don't know if you need that as no tracking or not, but if you do need it, you should use it. Let's come see this. This way we won't need the object tray, right, exactly. That's what as no tracking does. Alright, so what we're testing for here is to see if test coverage still works, and also to see if test coverage still is the total of all those tests, even in different projects, if those are working. So how long do these builds take? About 2 minutes. So we're going to be perfect on time. Let's get that thing to done, and then in the meantime, let's see who's on Twitch that I can raid. Anybody I know online? Quiet. Sorry. Who's this? T-Soding? I don't know who that is. Apparently I've followed him at some point. For mature audiences only. Yeah, I don't know. We'll skip that one. Coding for some Netflix project? Wow, I wonder what's with all these mature audiences only streamers. Usually I go to this guy. Where's our code team? Live coders. That's another thing I could throw in a chat bot is the live coders. It is /team/live coders. So look at all these people that are online. I have never rated Lena Lux. Clicking on that should totally open that, wouldn't you think? Apparently not. Okay, fine. What am I doing here? Science and technology, live coders, Unity, C#. Okay, that sounds fine. We'll give this a shot. We'll try Lena Lux for our raid. You should use Better TV and Franker Faces extension. That powerful what are those? Destroyed QC. I'm sorry, I don't know what those are. Are those like instead of the Twitch TV URL and website? Alright, look, that finished. We're still at 46% test coverage, which is close enough to what it was before that I'm going to say it worked. So I think we're good. It's an extension for Chrome. Okay, I'll check those out. Alright, so that's it for today. Hopefully you guys that stuck it out got something of value out of it. We did a bunch of stuff with code coverage, Azure Devops, builds, did a little bit of refactoring of clean architecture template here on GitHub, Ardalis clean architecture. And now I'm going to send you over to another live coders team streamer. If I can find my correct browser here, and we'll go over to this, we'll go over to this, and then this should let me, I can't take that off of this window, go here, paste that. She has way more people watching than I usually do, so that's good. And I guess we're doing some Unity modeling and some C# stuff. We'll see if that's interesting to you folks. I'll hop in there and say hi, and then we'll get on to other things. You can change some settings that are by default for Twitch, but pretty much annoying, like the song and the video when you go on Twitch. Okay, yeah, that would be nice to avoid. Cool. Alright. See you, everybody. Going over to Lena's. Tell her Ardalis sent you.